Paul Tassi is losing his mind once again on social media, and it all started from a fairly innocent post, and it got Marek Tymiński involved, CEO of CI Games, and Asmongold as well, along with Grums and others. And my goodness, what a complete mess it's turned into. Marek Tymiński on X started it all with just saying, many of you asked why the game initially had body type AB. Hexworth started early 2020 as an autonomous studio owned by CI Games. Early on, political correctness and filtering meant not every decision reached me on time. I got a lot more involved in late 2024 and now act as head of studio alongside my CEO role. Things are very different now, and the studio got fully integrated. We reverted a lot of wrong decisions and will continue improving. Lords 2 is being built on real player feedback, and it's crystal clear in the last two trailers. And speaking on a personal note, I've had many conversations with Marek and DMs. Strikes me as a very down-to-earth based developer that does genuinely care about the gamers. I mean, obviously, he wants to sell games. That's why he's in the industry as well, like not just to make great games, but to also sell them, obviously. So keeping that in mind and understanding the developer at arm's length, but he's never struck me as someone that's been like too questionable when it comes to this kind of stuff. And he said, let's settle this. How important are sexy, beautiful characters in RPG games? Very important, which I checked yes for my vote. Important to some degree and not important at all. So between very important and important to some degree, we have almost 83% of the votes and 17.5 saying not important at all. Like, okay, so there's going to be some troll votes in there as well. But you see less than 1 out of 5 people don't care about what the characters look like. Meaning 4 out of 5 gamers buying games care about what the characters look like. You would think if it was that many people, an overwhelming majority of people, that you would, I don't know, maybe make games with good looking characters in them. But no, there's apparently a demographic of people that don't want that. So then we had the fallout from Paul Tassi. And it all started with this post here from Insider Gaming. They said, Lord of the Fallen 2 will have attractive female characters in revealing outfits, CEO says, which may be up there with some of the most misleading headlines I think I've ever read in my life. And because it's a one-word response to someone else, and they wrote an entire article about it, making it sound like Marek Tymiński said like this whole diatribe about something. Anyways, Paul Tassi quote tweets it. You can just put this in your game and it's fine. You don't have to be a huge loser about it. So Paul Tassi, if you're not familiar, not only am I blocked by him, but he's a journalist, quote unquote, journal for Forbes Gaming. And he used to be fairly like based with his takes, or at least not as much of a cuck as he is now. I guess in the last like 4 to 5 years, ever since the pandemic, really, this guy got infected with something and he's gone way downhill from where he used to be to what he is now. Asmongold replied to him and got retweeted by Marek Tymiński. Asmongold said, it was a response to a fan. Here's the source. Replying yes to a question doesn't seem like being a huge loser. It seems like you're exaggerating it to make what he's saying sound problematic. This weird media crusade against sexualized characters is failing. Just stop it. And this is what the entire Insider Gaming article, the entire article was based around him saying yes to the question. I'm going to buy the game, definitely. Will there be attractive female characters? And will there be revealing outfits and armor for them? Yes. And from that, Paul Tassi, who clearly didn't read the article, he just wants to push a narrative that the chuds are bad and They should stop wanting attractive people in their games. You can just put it in your game and it's fine. You don't have to be a huge loser about it. So just saying yes. And he responded to a ton of people. He's very interactive with the community. He wants to be a part of it. He wants to interact and make the game for the people that will be buying and playing the game. He's asking questions. He's running polls. He's communicating. He's very interactive with it. Paul Tassi gets completely blown out by Zach. And he comes back. Where is this crusade? Because the crusade banging on the door every 5 seconds is complaining that someone in the game isn't hot enough. Now somehow the new Lara Croft, well, her chest isn't big enough, but she's cute. And again, this is cherry picking. Like, who are these straw man people that you're saying? What people are you talking about, Paul? Where is this coming from? It's the fucking internet. Of course, you're going to find people that say things you disagree with. Every time you disagree with something, you say, this is what people are saying. It's the internet. Yeah, you're going to find them. What the hell? If there's one too sexy complaint, there are 200 too ugly ones out there. And, dude, turn off your computer, bro. Like, what the hell? What's the problem here? Asmongold, are you trying to say that there hasn't been an ongoing effort for the last 10 years to change how primarily female characters look? This would have never been an issue until media made it an issue. All of the comments complaining are a direct response to that. Adam Critter, Paul Tassi got fucking wrecked. Jay Viper, you expect Paul to do even a tiny bit of research before spurring out when people are talking about attractive women? 100%. I don't know if Paul continued here, but nope. Looks like Paul got completely destroyed. And it's just like, you know what? I was like, at least he stopped, because he was so wrong with this take. And he got called out by everyone up to and including Asmongold. And he tried to push back a little bit. And Asmongold's like, no, I'm not having it. Not having it. Grums, these people are terrified you might put an attractive woman in your game and all go out to attack the dev for it. Marek, CEO of CI Games. Paul Tassi was also very angry at Stellar Blade before it became popular, and he grifted 5 to 8 more articles about how awesome and successful it was, which I covered previously, where he completely flipped on Stellar Blade, where he's like, oh, it's way too highly rated. The game's good, but it's not that good. And then he's like, oh, this game's amazing. I'm loving this game. Like, bro, make up your fucking mind, Paul. It's like you're picking what side people are going to pay attention to. You're trying to guess and throw darts. Just give people your honest opinion. Why is it so hard? They gaslit you all year into thinking Gamergate 2 was about gooning, when it was really about the insane censorship and absolutely triggered madness in these psychopaths that tried to silence gamers and force the industry to never have attractive characters again. 10 years of that. No more. We won. And we're going to keep pushing as AI replaces your game journalist jobs. Put the fries in the bag. And those of you who've been following me on social media, seeing I asked ChatGPT to make her beautiful, is really setting these wokies off. Every single time I post one, I've made a couple videos on it talking about it as well. People are getting really upset about that. And it's just because there's nothing they can say to it. The AI is doing a better job than the wokey artist at the studio. And they hate it because they have no comeback for it. And also, Fighting Cowboy was another one. Y'all gonna have a solid optimized game for launch, right? Maybe a demo? We're gonna have titties, bro. Tebow says, whiny bitch boy Paul Tassi complains about people lying about him not liking Stellar Blade, but fails to address his own lies, false framing of Lords of the Fallen 2, and statements made by CI Games CEO Marek Tymiński. Hypocrisy, thy name is Paul Tassi. Oh, yeah, man, I was totally wrong about Lords of the Fallen guy yesterday. He is, in fact, super cool. And he's screenshotting Marek Tymiński. Exactly. Insane censorship is over. Quote tweeting Grums talking about Paul Tassi having a meltdown. And seems like he's still melting down about it. It also drives me insane how many people lie about me hating Stellar Blade or Eve when it was one of my favorite games of the year, or somehow loving Concord of all things. But I guess driving me insane is kind of the point. No, it just feels like you have an axe to grind against people that actually play the games and love the games. You're welcome, Paul, to have your own decision. But when you're actively promoting, I don't know, ugly characters in games, getting mad at beautiful girls, and when gamers want more of that and you raise your hand and say, why do you need to do that? People are going to raise eyebrows and be like, why do you have an issue with attractive girls in your game, man? What's the problem with that? And then when you start blocking people like you did to me and many, many others, of course, people are going to have issues with that. Dr. Disaster, what a joke. Quote tweeting Paul Tassi, coping and seething. I thought this one was very interesting too, because this was a quote tweet from Ratchet Unbound. He says, bro, we literally have devs in the industry bullying other devs out of making attractive female characters. Quote tweeting Paul Tassi when he's like, where's this crusade about the girls in games? Which we have the cartel Del Walker, who infamously said, I'm not talking about mild changes. I'm talking about pose, aura, style, softness, age, flair. I hate giving Gamergate men fuel, but it's very difficult to pitch beautiful or vain black women in games without them coming back like grocery store aunties. There is room for both. Based. That's all we're saying, bro. Why are we the bad guys for that? That is the, yes, we agree. Holy shit. And wouldn't you know it, when you step out of line with the cult, you get whipped right back into shape. Following day, after some private DMs today with other black devs, I will no longer be publicly discussing black representation in games for foreseeable future. No more panels, articles, podcasts, nothing. This is not up for discussion, nor is it an invitation to try and change my mind. Cheers. And ever since then, this dude went off the deep end. I'm like, what the hell did this cult say to this guy? This was a very base dev that was just like, yeah, we need to try to work on making the women more beautiful in the games. Why are they always coming back like grocery store aunts? It's very strange. Grums, the CEO changed his studio. Listen to gamers is a no on pronouns and body types and a yes on attractive characters. That's when game journalists lost their minds and started to hate on the game. They just let their mask slip. 100%. I have a feeling we already know what Paul Tassi is going to say about this game before it even officially releases. If he gets an early copy of it from Forbes, I think we already know. And we'll leave it at this. From It's a Gundam saying, this is the way gaming. Lords of the Fallen 2 won't be politically correct, will feature attractive females and skimpy armors, confirms CI Games CEO. Based player quote tweets, being anti-woke is becoming normalized. Don't let them gaslight you. Keep talking. Massive strides have been made pushing gaming forward over the past 12 months, maybe even more than that. And we're starting to see it show up in not just the games, but the developers themselves are interacting with the gamers, being like, hey, what is it you want? How can we make this something that doesn't piss you off? Because we want to make sure we're in tune with you, not these consultancy agencies, not these corporate interest groups, not people telling us what they think you want. We just want to hear directly from you. It's not just Marek Tymiński. Many, many other developers, not just in public, but even behind the scenes, reaching out to me and many other YouTubers, content creators, just talking to us. Hey, I want to make sure that I am in tune with we're on the right path with what we're doing, because we don't want to be what those other guys are doing. So it is a good direction. I'm very hopeful for the future of gaming. And the more the journos like Paul Tassi cope and seethe, the more we are winning. And it's going to be very curious to see how he reacts when this game comes out. I'll be definitely checking that article to see what he has to say about beautiful girls in Lords of the Fallen 2. But for now, I'll leave that there.